For the ads, we asked in which profession are you most likely to hate a colleague? And the answer is media.
Let's crack on then. I think this is quite fascinating because I think it probably affects almost all of us. I know it did me. Working with someone you hate. Shell out £25 of your hard-earned cash for a copy of this book, Tony Blair, A Book of Lies. I think that's what it's called. And you'll find page after page given over to Blair's loathing for Gordon Brown. Yep, Labour's most successful Prime Minister of all time somehow foisted a bloke he found maddening, with zero emotional intelligence, on us, the British people, when he quit office to make millions of socialist pounds. He hated him and then he made us have him as our Prime Minister. Anyway, why did Tone put up with him? Well, because Gordon was the best Chancellor this country's ever had, which is why we're now on our financial knees. Anyway, I digress. What about in the real world? Have you worked with someone closely you didn't like? Do you look back and wonder how on earth you put up with it? I know I do. I worked with bully boys that had me scared for my own safety, and I've worked with people who were absolutely lovely, I'm sure, but who I just couldn't get along with in the workplace. I tried, they tried, but I think it would be fair to say it was agony for both of us. Now, psychologists reckon the stress that comes from working with someone you don't like can lead to depression, loss of sleep, drug and alcohol abuse. So are you a muppet if you put up with it? Isn't it better to find another job and get away from the swine as soon as possible, or is that just running away from your problems? Perhaps you should front it out, maybe talk it through and see if there's some way you can settle your differences. You probably shouldn't let your feelings show, as Sharon Osbourne did when she quit the X Factor because she hated Danny Minogue's guts. Or maybe bosses should accept that not everyone can get along and move people around to promote harmony and understanding, man. Tracy Ann, it must be difficult in the world of acting because you have to work really, really closely with each other for a while. What happens if you are, let's say you are cast, your romantic opposite number, your screen husband, is someone you don't like?
Well, yeah, you just get on with it. You just get on with it. I mean, on the whole, actors, do, and there's a common ground. And also, most jobs don't last for that long. I mean, if you're in a soap, that's different because you are in it for the duration, and in that situation, you can have certain, forces not getting on with others. But ultimately, you're there to do a job. And, on EastEnders, people definitely didn't get on all the time. But you just knocked on their door, you met on the set, you got on, you did the scenes, and you didn't have to spend time together.
Is there atmosphere, though, off camera when, I know, you're sitting in the green room?
I don't know what I can't tell what it's like in other jobs when you're stuck in an office, when you're sharing a workspace.
Well, one of the things I was aware of is if it's a boss you don't like, then, it's an impossible position because you feel everything they're asking you to do, there's an edge to it. They're not just asking you, if you get the feeling they don't like you, it's almost like they're putting it on you in some shape or form.
So you'd go to your HR and maybe try and sort it out.
I wouldn't go to HR if they were the last people in the building.
I say that like I know. I wouldn't know what HR is. But
have you got it?
But I just think ultimately you're paid to do a job, and really, although it's nice to work in an environment with people that you get on with, it can't always be guaranteed. And if you do get on with your boss, go in and explain to them that there is an atmosphere. But ultimately, it's a job. It's not a social event. You're doing work.
Cool, that's quite a hard line. Aggie?
Well, and you're an actress as well, so presumably you can turn it
Pretend.
on when you want to.
Hi.
Yes, that's right.
Chris! I love you, Tom.
Yes,
I do.
Everyone's worked with somebody they hate or not been able to get along with. And I think one of the positive aspects of that is that it's normally the person who's hated is normally hated by everyone in my experience, that's been the case. And there's a lot of pleasure to be derived from having a good old bitch about that person, quite honestly. It's not the best way to behave, but it's a vent for the frustration and the anxiety and the stress that you have with working with that person.
What if they're a boss?
If they're a boss, yes. Well, I have had that experience, and it's very, very difficult. It was a bullying boss, and the bullying went right throughout the company. I won't be too specific about this. HR, useless. They knew exactly what was going on. But while business was very, very good, they weren't going to touch it. They weren't going to deal with this problem. And they still haven't. I know this from
ultimately,
ex-colleagues.
Do you put up with it, or are you better off? Let's forget about the fact that it's your job and it's your income. Do you put up with it, or are you better off leaving and doing something else?
Well, I think you have to decide when the scales tip too much in the wrong direction. You have to make a decision. You either put up with it, you shape up, you put up with it, or you just leave. And, you know, when you leave, that's when you can, you know, blow the whistle and really try and sort things out. But it's too late by then. Yeah, if that's
the Blair Brown thing is fascinating, because you think how many years they worked together, and they clearly absolutely hated
That's right,
each other.
and everyone knew that. You know, it was in the press.
Which can only make things worse, can't it?
That's
that everybody knows,
That's
and they are going, oh, this is my dear friend Gordon.
I know, it's so hypocritical, isn't it? But what's the option? You know, they were a good team together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the irony, isn't it? That sometimes you can hate somebody, but when it comes to doing the actual work, you can create some sort of magic.
Yeah.
Well, I've got an example of that. There were two really very big stars touring a play, a two-hander play.
Name names, Biggie.
No, I can't. But they hated each other so much, they would never talk to each other backstage. They would only do the play. And the friend of mine, who was the male, used to think, when he was sitting there or standing there looking at this woman, he used to think of ways he could kill her during the play. But they did the play for about 6 months. And this went on for 6 months.
It must take it out of you, something.
Well, of course it must. There must be something along the line. But I'm very anti this thing of giving up your job, because I think, you know, it's not everyone's in that position to be able to give up their job because they have mortgages to pay.
But if you turn up every day and you loathe every minute you're there because of this person...
It's not good for your
It's not good. And one, you know, in the instance I'm thinking about, the person I didn't get along with got promoted, and the day they went was just like, hooray, I'm free. And the rest of my years working for the firm were fantastic. Yeah. So there is an argument if you know... God, could I have put up with it a few more years? I don't think I could have taken any more of it, actually.
No, life's too short, isn't it?
You're lucky, though. You're in a position where you could go to something else. But, you know...
I don't think at the time any more than anybody else.
I never understand why people... I was... early on in my career, I was at the... I was with a very large, well-known theatre company, and the director... There was a director on one show who was horrible. He was a nasty little bully.
My director just said they're all horrible.
No, but this one guy was particularly nasty, and he would pick out a couple of weak ones. And there was one guy, I think, who'd come straight out of drama school, and he went for this boy, and he destroyed him. Every day, he actually took pleasure in sadistically destroying this boy's confidence. And nobody stood up to him. Nobody, all these big, well-known actors would turn a blind eye as the boy was crying in the corner. And I think I took it on. I think I ended up sort of going, I think it's disgusting, and sort of got told off. I never understand why other people in the position of authority won't... the more people bandy together to stand up against
that's an issue of bullying as well, isn't it? I mean, that's how it works, I suppose. You know, by not getting involved, you actually are siding with the bully, aren't you? So you're guilty by association. Working with someone you hate is what we're talking about. Eric and Kirsty, you're not allowed to speak during this. But what do people at home have to say?
OK, we have Marie first on line 1.
Marie, good morning.
Good morning.
You ever work with somebody you don't like?
I do work, actually, with someone that I don't like. And it's my ex-husband.
Whoa!
Yeah, well, yes.
How on earth do you end up in this situation, Marie?
Well, I was working with him when I was married, and that's a very long time. And then I decided to leave him, but it wasn't easy for me to do all the things at the same time, so I left my husband, but I couldn't leave my job as well. At the end of the day, why should I leave my job? But it's now been 2.5 years, so divorce is over. We're both, you know, getting on with our single, whatever, our separate lives, but we still work together in the same office.
Oh, dear.
That is not healthy.
Have either of you met anybody else yet?
Well, yes, but that's not the issue. The issue is, like, being with him there every day. It's like taking me back to my old life. And, you know... Well,
why don't... Marie, can you not go?
Well,
go and work
I like
else?
my job. Why should I go? I mean, it's really...
Well, because your ex-husband's there. That would be the only reason.
Why doesn't he leave? Why do I have to leave?
Because he likes seeing you suffer, Marie.
No.
Which one's the boss, Marie?
Well, Yes, it's come to a point now that I'm sort of looking around and I really have to find something else. But it has to be something good. It's not a decision that I just have to take just because he's there. Look, I leave my job. You know, it's not just a job. It's something that I really like.
OK, now, Biggins was asking, is one of you more senior than the other, or are you equal?
We're equal.
We're equal. Oh, dear. Hands up who thinks Marie should leave. Everybody, nearly everybody, but Tracy Ann. No.
Marie, do you have to work in the same office space, or could you work from home, or...
No, in the same office.
Can you build a partition wall? Can you turn your back? Can't you just make this... Can you...
No.
Leave.
Right, that's everybody. Marie, thank you and good luck. Thank you. Oh, dear. Who's up next?
Okay, next on line 2, we have Katie.
Katie, good morning.
Hi.
Hi, so, go on, what's your story?
I used to work with someone that I hated.
Right.
And she was a real bully.
Right.
And not many people at the workplace liked her. And so one day she pushed me too far. I told her that I hated her, that everybody hated her. No one liked her at all. And she left and she never came back. And
You're laughing about it. Do you feel guilty at all about that?
A little bit I did for a little while. There was like one person there who sort of felt bad for her and I felt a bit guilty. But because everyone apart from one person at the workplace supported me and said, oh, we're so grateful that you told her, we're so glad to see her gone, I just feel really pleased about it. I just feel like I stood up to a bully and I did the right thing, and the person that was horrible to everybody had to leave work, and the people that weren't being horrible got to stay.
Good job she didn't stay, though, is it? The one you hated, that would have made life a little bit more uncomfortable the next day.
Well, it was a little bit uncomfortable, but I didn't have to see her anymore, so it was fine.
OK, thank you. Do you imagine if Tony Blair had done that, how different this country may have been the last few years? Just a thought. And one last one before...
OK, we have Sandra on line 3.
Morning, Sandra.
Hi, hello.
Morning. You working with anybody you don't like?
Yeah, I've been working with a really well-known company for about 3 years now, part-time. Right. And about 2 years ago, I got a new manager, and she just went crazy on me, literally. She said she wanted to do have a new slate. So she took everyone out, in one way or another, everyone just left, but I stayed because it's perfect hours for me because I'm part-time. And she's always making snide comments about me. She's always gossiping about me. And the thing is, she treats everybody else so nicely, so it's such a contrast to me. And at first, it did used to upset me. I used to, not in front of her, obviously, I used to cry when I got home. Oh. But it gets to a point where you're just like, hang on, this is just a part-time job. This woman, are you really going to let her small actions get to you this way? So I just get on with my job. A lot of the time, I do think it is jealousy. What
about Sandra? Have you ever thought of calmly and coolly, i.e. not at the Christmas party, but calmly and coolly said to her, I'm really fascinated by something. Oh, what's that, Sandra? You're so nice to everybody. Why are you so horrible to me?
I have, and she says I shouldn't ask questions because she's the manager. That's her punchline. I'm the manager, so...
Manager?
Yeah, that's what she says. I mean, I could be standing on the edge of the carpet. You're not allowed to stand on the edge of the carpet. I'm the manager. Why? I'm the manager.
Sandra, you need to speak to somebody more senior about it. That is just absolutely unacceptable behaviour by your boss. To tell you where you can and cannot stand, it's pathetic. You need to go higher and get this sorted out. So the idea that you go home and cry because of the way this thing treats you, not on. And if you don't do it, Sandra, leave the number and I'll do it for you, all right? I like shouting at people. Shut up, Eric. Shut up, Kirsty. Yeah, get on with your work. If you can call it a job. Prancing around with your Hoover. Now, after the break...
Did you say there were no men rang in, or women?
And also female bosses.
Yes.
Just thought I'd mention it.